I love Malcolm Nance. This guy is more knowledgeable than the majority of the people you see on TV today, and I don't care if it's MSNBC, CNN, or Fox. This guy knows what he's talking about. Unfortunately, I guess President Obama didn't decide to utilize his talents, or Hillary Clinton might have won. Here's an interview with Malcolm Nance and Stephanie Ruhle, and he's basically, towards the end of the interview, is going to lay out exactly which way the wind is blowing, because a lot of the people, and I'm not going to say on MSNBC, but there's been a call that we need to tighten everything up, to the point that some people are saying that some of our rights need to be suspended in order to I guess, obtain more safety, and he puts that one to bed pretty much for most people.
Thanks, Kristen. I want to now bring in MSNBC terrorism analyst Malcolm Nance, executive director of the Terror Asymmetrics Project and a veteran of U.S. intelligence. Malcolm, this Berlin attacker story is extraordinary, and the more we learn about this suspect, I mean, had 6 aliases, clearly a person of interest, a criminal history, should have been deported. What in the world was he still doing there?
Well, you have to understand, each of these European nations, they're entirely separate and sovereign states. And so once you're in there, I mean, this guy came through Italy, which is a common portal for people coming from North Africa.
It's really, I mean, Sicily, right. Tunisia, those are next door neighbors.
Absolutely. And Italy just pushes these people out off into France and off into Germany without documentation. And they're allowed to do that principally because they are a sovereign nation. Once he comes into Germany and he came and applied for asylum, actually coming through Netherlands, he actually came from the border of Netherlands, then he came into the European Union system, which allowed him to apply for asylum, and that allowed him to live there without documentation. Now, the BKA, German intelligence, right, German federal intelligence, were aware of him. He was recruited, it appears, and radicalized in the exact system that virtually everyone in ISIS was, in the prison system, petty criminal, radicalized as an Islamist. But again, each state has laws which does not allow you to deport a person without documentation, hence his Tunisian passport.
I want to read you a quote that stood out to me from the New York Times. German intelligence and law enforcement authorities, like those in France and Belgium, say they are overwhelmed by what it would take to keep constant tabs on such large numbers of people. They're under various degrees of surveillance, but a full-time watch on all of them, ready for this, would require up to 40 officers per individual. Here in the U.S., how do we address this? 40 officers per individual?
I've done close surveillance. I've done technical surveillance. It is an extremely complicated issue. When you say, oh, I'm going to put a guy to monitor his phone, that's 3 watch shifts of 8 hours each. 24/7 to monitor his phone, plus a 4th person for vacations, right? This is a manpower intensive thing. These resources, if you want to do it, and we usually reserve these resources for only the highest threat personnel, you are going to have to pay the money. You are going to have to create the resources, and then generally, if the Germans were to do that, they would have to create an entirely new agency just to follow individuals.
Okay, then when you break that down, and you look at Donald Trump and the Muslim ban, do you think we could see a lot more vocal support for something like a Muslim ban following this Berlin attack, knowing this guy's history, hearing things like the amount of time and money it takes for surveillance? Could we see a lot of Americans suddenly say, I get it, it's ethnically insensitive, but this is just too hairy for us to get our head around. We need to protect ourselves.
Yeah,
is that a risk here?
Well, the risk is that you want to take the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and rip it up and throw it away for your safety. What was it that Benjamin Franklin, a citizen from my hometown, Philadelphia, said, right? People who, are willing to sacrifice freedom for safety deserve neither. We have to understand we have a set of core values. Violence is always going to be around us. Terrorism can be any one individual, but you don't compromise the beliefs and systems of 330 million Americans to get one guy. You use the system in place. You use good intelligence. You use good law enforcement. The Germans are now facing that, and they've already gone through.
Were they not using that before?
Well, yes, but you have to understand, not as resource intensive as they're going to have to do now. You can't close every border. The Germans have already been to a dark place when it came to surveilling each individual of the state. And if you want to live in a police state, just to stop one guy who might kill one person, then, I mean, you know, in this country, you've already got a problem with guns killing thousands and thousands of people. This is a question of your national values. And then it becomes a question of intelligence. And then it becomes a question of law enforcement. You do not create a Gestapo to find one guy and burn the Constitution in the same process. And that's just an intelligence community's perspective. What do I know?
Merry Christmas, Malcolm Nance. We are living in scary times. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Next.
Malcolm Nance is the man.